Viarpant Vila, the value of sweat. Kurup, the head of a once wealthy family, is now facing financial difficulties. He is being approached by people seeking donations to fund a statue commemorating a dead artist. Kurup contributes some money. His son, Gopi, sees this and gets irritated. Kurup is planning an extravagant celebration for his upcoming 60th birthday. Kurup's elder son, Basi, supports his father, causing a quarrel between him and Gopi. Gopi outlines the family's precarious financial situation, stating that their land holdings have all been lost and their home is the only remaining asset, which is the subject of an ongoing lawsuit. Kurup asks Basi to secure a loan of 1,500 rupees from Anthony to fund his upcoming 60th birthday party. Although both Gopi and his mother, Sarasa, try to convince him otherwise, Kurup is firm in his decision. Basi's wife requests that he purchase some cosmetics for her from the market. Basi approaches Anthony, requests 1,600 rupees, and then secretly takes 100 rupees for himself. Gopi secures a job as a bus conductor, but he worries about Kurup's reaction, knowing his father looks down on that kind of work. Kurup is composing a letter to the lawyer to update them on the status of the court case. Basi and his wife visit her home to formally invite her father, Gopalan, and her mother to Kurup's 60th birthday party. Kurup's birthday is celebrated on a grand scale, with a large feast provided for the entire village. Kurup learns that he has lost the court case, a devastating blow that means their home will be lost forever. Gopalan's attempt to negotiate with Chacko, the other party in the case, fails. Kurup approaches Gopalan for assistance, proposing that he will sign over the property if Gopalan settles Kurup's financial obligation to Chacko. Kurup is shocked to see Gopi working as a bus conductor on their way back, as he had no prior knowledge of his son's job. In a fit of anger, he stops the bus and steps off. He then goes home and starts yelling at his wife just as Gopi walks in. Kurup questions why he was not informed before he took the job. In Kurup's view, Gopi's job as a conductor is an insult to their family's reputation. Kurup claims that a conductor's job is not suitable for their family, as his forefathers were all rulers. Although Gopi's mother offers her support, Kurup responds by shouting at her. In a fit of rage, Kurup slaps Gopi and drives him out of their home. Gopi leaves his home. When Gopi's sister Omana calls her for dinner, their mother can't bring herself to eat because she is so concerned about Gopi. Gopi seeks out his friend Damu, going to his house to confide in him and talk through all his problems. As the house is now her father's property, Basi's wife slowly starts to show her true colors. She throws tea at Omana, and when a servant attempts to come to Omana's defense, she is slapped. When their mother steps in, she too is yelled at. She then begins to pack her things and heads back to her own home. Kurup calls Basi, only to discover that Basi had deceived Matai into lending him money by using Kurup's name. Kurup shouts angrily at Basi. The conflict escalates into a big issue, leading Basi and his wife to return to her home. After Omana informs him of the situation, Kurup attempts to stop Basi. In the process, he falls down the staircase and is injured. Basi and his wife approach Gopalan to voice their grievances about Kurup. Fueled by anger, Gopalan promises that he will have his revenge. Mathai again comes to collect the money, but Sarasa finds herself in a helpless situation. Omana brings all her jewelry and gives it to Mathai. Kurup has an advocate prepare the legal document for his will. Omana brings some medicine for Kurup, but unfortunately they don't have enough money to buy all the required medication. To get money, Omana offers music lessons to Damu's sister and receives an advance payment. Omana's decision doesn't sit well with Sarasa. At the same time, Gopi receives a letter with the news of his father's illness. Kurup calls for Omana, but she is away at the moment giving a music lesson. Gopi reaches the house and finds Sarasa. Omana returns later, and is surprised to see Gopi there. Sarasa warns Gopi that a conversation with Kurup might upset him, so she asks him to stay away. Despite his mother's warning, Gopi goes to see his father, although he refrains from speaking. After Gopi gives Sarasa some money, she hesitates, then reaches for it. Just as she's about to take it, Kurup forcefully swats the money down. He shouts at Sarasa, scolding her for accepting money from Gopi. He tells Gopi to leave and never show his face again. Just as Gopi is leaving, Kurup tells him to take the money with him, but Gopi declines the offer. He visits his friend Damu, who works as a bank manager, and requests assistance with a loan application to purchase a taxi. Damu not only agrees to Gopi's request but also informs him that Omana is the one teaching his sister music. Gopi's hard work pays off, and he becomes a successful taxi car owner. After Damu's mother falls ill, Omana steps in to help. While there, she sees Damu attempting to cook and singing to himself. Basi goes to a local tea shop with his friends and fights with the owner. He was chased by the people. He quickly runs and conceals himself inside Gopi's car. The tea shop owner visits Gopalan to complain about a problem involving Basi. Gopalan consents to compensate for the damages. Because Kurup is the sole witness for his case, Gopalan visits him and asks him to commit perjury by lying in court. Kurup's refusal to lie to anyone leads to a quarrel. In the argument, Gopalan asks for the money Kurup owes him to be returned. Kurup is left feeling helpless after Gopalan becomes angry and departs. Damu is in the middle of confessing his love to Omana when his mother and sister show up. Damu's mother visits Kurup to formally propose the marriage of her son, Damu, to his daughter, Omana. After Kurup rejects the proposal on the grounds that Damu's family is inferior, Damu's mother walks away, feeling insulted. Sarasa reveals to Kurup all the struggles they went through, clarifying for him why Omana felt she had to start teaching music. Kurup calls Omana and forbids her from continuing her music lessons. She starts to cry in response. Kurup arranges a wedding for Omana with an unknown man, a person she has never met before. Basi comes home fully drunk. He slaps his wife, which makes Gopalan so angry that he slaps Basi. As Kurup prepares for Omana's wedding, he attempts to console her while she cries. After visiting Omana, Gopi discovers that her wedding was fixed without her permission. He says he will not support a wedding that lacks her consent. Gopi declares that he will not permit the wedding, but Omana intervenes and stops him. Kurup gets a message revealing that Basi has been arrested and left without anyone to post his bail. Kurup declares that he will not help Basi, telling everyone that he has disowned him. Gopi goes to the police station with the person who filed the complaint, and they withdraw the case. Basi was released on the condition that he would be given a warning. Basi later meets Gopi to apologize and informs him that he is moving away from that place. Gopi urges Basi to return to his family and live a better life. Basi also goes to Kurup and apologizes for his actions. Kurup decides to forgive him. Omana visits Damu and tells him that he needs to forget about her completely. Gopalan loses the case in court as Kurup, a key witness, refuses to lie. Just as Gopalan is seething with anger at Kurup, Kurup himself arrives to extend a wedding invitation for Omana. Despite Kurup's attempts to convince him, Gopalan remains unwilling to listen. Gopalan visits the family of Omana's future husband and urges them to back out of the wedding. The wedding day arrives, with all preparations complete, and the guests are waiting for the groom's arrival. A group of officials interrupts the wedding, telling Kurup that, because of Gopalan's complaint, the court has ordered the confiscation of all his property. In a moment of desperation, Kurup begs the officials for a short delay so the wedding can proceed, and they agree to his request. Kurup is filled with anticipation for the groom's arrival, only to be devastated by a letter informing him that the family is no longer going through with the wedding. Omana is listening to the conversation. Basi announces that he will go speak to the family, but Kurup prevents him, claiming it will be a waste of time. The government officials begin the confiscation, and upon hearing the news, Gopi immediately runs to his home. Kurup is overcome with grief and weeps over his misfortune. To save his family's home, Gopi sells his taxi to get the money. Overwhelmed by humiliation, Kurup sees no other option but to take his own life. When Sarasa sees Kurup about to take his own life, she starts to cry. Gopi, who is nearby, hears her and rushes to save his father. He was successful in saving his father's life at the very last moment. Kurup questions Gopi about why he was saved. Gopi's answer is to hand Kurup some money and tell him to throw it on Gopalan's face. Kurup embraces Gopi and expresses his regret for forcing him out of the home. Kurup approaches Damu to apologize and then asks if he would still be willing to marry Omana. Damu says yes. Damu and Omana get married.